Hi, this is Judge Herb Dodell. One of the things that we try to do, and we do, is to provide you with some practicality. What do you do if? Now, we know many of the things that we're going to talk about are not relevant in your life at the moment. They may become relevant in your life, but a lot of people are involved in automobile accidents. It takes up a very large portion of the matters that are in the legal system, most of which, by the way, I think the statistics show that over 98% of personal injury cases get settled. But how do they get settled? And for how much do they get settled? The reality is it depends on what lawyer you get. Now, we had on the show For the People, which is available on Mondays at 4 o'clock at KCAA Radio, or on YouTube, or on iHeart nationwide. We had a very, very prominent, probably the top of the line personal injury lawyer, Michael Kahn. And he described what you should do. And why do you want one lawyer versus another? Well, there are all kinds. Do you want the person who's advertising on the back of the bus or at the bus stop, or the big sign up there saying, I got my cousin Harry, $2 million, you want that lawyer? A lot of them are mills. They just run paper that you rarely see or talk to any lawyers. It's all done by clerks or paralegals. And most of these advertisements are not for the lawyers that you're going to get. Most of them are just paying for advertising. In fact, I found out for the first time last week in talking to Mr. Kahn that many of these lawyers will charge a percentage of their advertising budget as a cost. So when they distribute the proceeds at the end of the case, you're paying for their advertising. Check the retainer agreements that you have with these lawyers. Make sure that's not in there and allowing them to take money off. Don't sign it just because they stick it in front of you. Now, one of the things that was very important in my discussions with the personal injury lawyers is that these lawyers that advertise refer to somebody else. They're strangers. You know nothing about these people, and those are the ones that are going to be handling your case. Better get a good recommendation, find out who's doing what in the business, and that's who you should talk to. Meet them. In fact, I was listening to the interview the other day, and he was talking about taking an hour or an hour and a half and getting all the information at an intake interview. That's really important. Don't rush it, because he specialized in biomechanics, meaning if you're facing to the left and you're rear-ended at X miles an hour, this is the possible sequelae or damage you're going to sustain. If you're facing to the right, it's different. If you're facing straight ahead, if you have the seatbelt on or you don't, or whatever the measurements may very well be, that could determine the amount of injury that you sustain. And you need to find a personal injury lawyer that knows people in the medical community, the good doctors, not the mills that just run you through and fill out a simple boilerplate medical report. These doctors are very, very important. And if you say to yourself, I can't afford to go to those kinds of doctors because they're really the top of the line, well, these doctors will generally take cases on what's called a lien, meaning they get paid from the resolution of the case. And if you were to lose, they don't get paid. And they work with the lawyers on a regular basis. They do the surgeries, they do the examinations, they prepare the reports, they make the recommendations. You want to find yourself with somebody who really knows the nature of the business. The value of your case, including lost earnings, emotional damages, or everything else, are dependent on how good your lawyer is in selling it to the insurance company. And if they've got a long reputation, the companies know them. They're not in a hurry to settle the cases, which a lot of contingency lawyers will do because they want to get paid now. They don't want to wait to see what happens later on because they're spending money in the meantime. So you want to make sure your lawyer is reputable, not in a hurry. They're willing to pay the costs of any kind of litigation if they get there. And if it goes to small claims court, because it's under the statutory amount, you want to think about should you have to pay that lawyer anything. They didn't do anything. You went to small claims court yourself. But they did some work. Talk to your lawyer about it before you hire them. Make sure you've covered the subject so that at the end of the day, there's no misunderstandings between you and the lawyer. That becomes very uncomfortable. Anyway, if you have any questions, get in touch with me at askjudgeherb@gmail.com. You can watch the show, which is called For the People, available on iHeart nationwide, or kcaaradio.com, or even YouTube. And the book is called From the Trench to the Bench. I talk a lot about personal injury cases and the things that you need to do in order to maximize your recovery. So if you have any questions, get in touch with me. I will respond if I can.